Roads freeze quickly when they are A. Flat, B. Curvy, C. In the sun, D. Shaded. D. Shaded. In cold or wet weather, you should take special care on sections of road that are shaded by trees or buildings. These areas freeze more quickly than the rest of the road and are the last parts of the road to dry. If you are driving on the interstate and pass your exit, you should A. Quickly cut across traffic to make your turn. B. Make a U-turn to go back to the exit. C. Continue driving and use the next exit. D. Put your vehicle in reverse to go back to the exit. C. Continue driving and use the next exit. Don't make a last-minute turn into an exit. If you pass your exit, you must go to the next one. Regulatory signs A. Are placed in every location where there is a present danger. B. Indicate what a driver must or must not do. C. Are diamond-shaped and yellow or green. D. May warn drivers that they are approaching a school zone. B. Indicate what a driver must or must not do. Regulatory signs are often rectangular and white with black markings and are used to indicate what things a driver must or must not do in a designated area. They may display speed limits, prohibit passing or turning, or clarify any other driving regulation. What does a single dashed yellow line separating traffic mean? A. Drivers may pass if it is safe to do so. B. Both lanes travel in the same direction. C. Drivers may not pass. D. Drivers may pass even if it could be dangerous. A. Drivers may pass if it is safe to do so. Yellow lines separate traffic moving in opposite directions. A single dashed yellow line in the center of a road indicates that vehicles traveling in both directions are permitted to pass. Drivers may only begin a pass if they will not interfere with any oncoming traffic.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
There may be times when 10 miles per hour is too fast for drivers to safely operate their vehicles. A. True. B. False. A. True. Drive below the posted speed limit when safety demands it. Some traffic, weather, or visibility conditions may require you to drive as slowly as 10 miles per hour. When you see other drivers around you acting or reacting in anger. A. Don't make eye contact. B. Don't react with hand gestures. C. Distance yourself from the situation. D. All of these. D. All of these. When other drivers are behaving angrily, you should take action to physically and mentally distance yourself from the situation. Avoid making eye contact with them, or making body movements or gestures that could provoke them. Slow down, move over, or do whatever you safely can to put yourself out of danger. A driver can legally pass on the right side of another vehicle? A. If the vehicle is waiting to turn left and there is an available passing lane. B. Even if it means driving off the pavement. C. On a narrow bridge. D. At any time. You should honk your horn when you A. Are traveling through an intersection. B. Are passing a bicyclist. C. See a child who is about to run into the street. D. Are parallel parking. C. See a child who is about to run into the street. Your horn should be used as a warning in situations where you think another driver or a pedestrian does not see you. For example, if a child begins to run into the street in front of your vehicle, you should sound your horn. Another driver is trying to pass your car. You should A. Pull off the road. B. Signal to the other driver when it is safe for them to pass. C. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to allow safe passing. D. Speed up. C. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to allow safe passing. Keep right when another driver begins to pass you on the left. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to let the passing vehicle move back into the right lane as easily as possible. Drivers may talk on their cell phones while driving. A. Under no circumstances. B. At any time in any manner. C. If they are using a hands-free accessory. D. Only if the phone is a flip phone. C. If they are using a hands-free accessory. The use of a cell phone or other handheld device to engage in voice communications while driving is prohibited, unless the device is used with a hands-free accessory. The use of a cell phone or other device to send, read, or engage in non-voice communications, such as text messaging, is prohibited while driving. Certain highway signs require drivers to obey an indicated instruction. Such signs are known as A. Regulatory signs. B. Warning signs. C. Information signs. D. Guide signs. A. Regulatory signs. Regulatory signs require drivers to obey an indicated instruction. Failure to comply is subject to penalty. A red and white triangular sign at an intersection means A. Slow down if an emergency vehicle is approaching. B. Look both ways as you cross the intersection. C. Always come to a full stop at the intersection. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. D. Slow down and be prepared to stop if necessary. A triangular red and white yield sign means that you must decrease speed as you approach an intersection and yield the right of way to any vehicles or pedestrians in the intersection. You must be prepared to stop if conditions require it. If you drink alcohol socially, what helps ensure safe driving? A. Drink coffee before driving. B. Ride home with a friend who has not been drinking. C. Take a cold shower before driving. D. Stop drinking 1/2 hour before driving. B. Ride home with a friend who has not been drinking. One strategy to avoid driving while impaired or intoxicated is to arrange for a ride home with a friend who does not drink. Drinking coffee or taking a cold shower cannot reduce your blood alcohol content or reduce the effects of alcohol. On average, it takes about an hour for the body to eliminate the alcohol from a single drink. This sign means A. Two-way traffic. B. Lane shifting. C. Low clearance. D. Added lane. A. Two-way traffic. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that they may encounter traffic coming from the opposite direction. Blood alcohol content (BAC) depends on each of the following, except A. Your body weight. B. How much you drink. C. How much time passes between drinks. D. How physically fit you are. D. How physically fit you are. Your blood alcohol content (BAC) depends on how much alcohol you drink, how much time passes between drinks, and your weight. It is not affected by the type of alcoholic beverages you drink, your level of physical fitness, or how well you can hold your liquor. The most common color of warning signs is A. Red, B. Yellow, C. Green, D. Blue. B. Yellow. Most warning signs are diamond-shaped and yellow with black markings. These signs warn drivers about unexpected conditions that may not be readily apparent. When approaching a disabled pedestrian using a guide dog, white cane, or other assistive device, a driver should yield the right of way. A. True. B. False. A. True. A pedestrian with a disability who is utilizing a guide dog, a white cane, a wheelchair, or another assistive device, whether on a sidewalk or roadway, has the right of way and is granted the same rights as any other pedestrian. You must pull over to the edge of the road and allow an emergency vehicle to pass. A. Regardless of your direction. B. Only if it is following you. C. Only if it is approaching you from the opposite direction. D. None of the above. A. Regardless of your direction. You must pull over to the right edge of the road and stop for an emergency vehicle with flashing lights, regardless of whether it is approaching you from behind or from the opposite direction. When approaching a railroad crossing, you should A. Slow down. B. Look for a train. C. Be ready to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When you see any signs indicating a nearby railroad crossing, you should slow down, look for a train, and be ready to stop. If the red warning lights are flashing or the gate is down, you must stop 15 to 50 feet before the railroad tracks. Do not try to go around the gate. This sign means A. School ahead. B. School crossing. C. Pedestrian crossing. D. Construction workers on or near the roadway. C. Pedestrian crossing. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign indicates that there may be pedestrians crossing the road ahead. What do speed limit signs indicate? A. Potential driving speeds for the area. B. The maximum or minimum speed that is legally allowed to be driven. C. The speed drivers should drive in heavy traffic. D. The speed drivers should drive under poor conditions. B. The maximum or minimum speed that is legally allowed to be driven. Speed limit signs indicate the maximum or minimum safe speed that is allowed to be driven on a roadway. The maximum limits are for ideal conditions and you must reduce your speed when conditions require it. To avoid being in a truck or bus driver's blind spot, you should A. Never pass them. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. C. Flash your lights at them. D. Sound your horn. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. Because a large vehicle, such as a truck or bus, has large blind spots to its sides and rear, avoid driving alongside such a vehicle and do not tailgate one. When driving near heavy trucks, other drivers and highway users must make allowances for A. The increased stopping distance required by large vehicles. B. The decreased stopping distance required by large vehicles. C. The decreased noise of larger vehicles. D. The increased speed of larger vehicles. A. The increased stopping distance required by large vehicles. When driving near heavy trucks, other drivers and highway users must make allowances for the increased stopping distance required by the large vehicles. Drivers of smaller vehicles should remain in locations where they can be seen by the driver of the large vehicle and where their view of traffic is not blocked by the vehicle. This sign means A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. B. Work crew ahead. C. Side road. D. Playground ahead. A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that there is an upcoming sharp turn and that they should lower their speed accordingly. When driving in fog, you should use your A. Low beam headlights. B. High beam headlights. C. Parking lights. D. Hazard flashers. A. Low beam headlights. If you must drive in foggy conditions, you should use your low beam headlights, as well as your fog lights, if your vehicle has them. High beams direct their light upwards, where it can bounce off the fog and into your eyes, reducing visibility even more. Your tire blows out while you are driving. You should A. Slam on your brakes. B. Hold your steering wheel tightly and slow to a stop. C. Keep driving normally. D. Turn on your emergency flashers and continue driving. B. Hold your steering wheel tightly and slow to a stop. If you experience a tire blowout, do not immediately apply the brakes. Grip the steering wheel firmly and steer to remain in your traffic lane. Reduce your speed gradually by releasing the accelerator and staying off the brakes. Once you are moving very slowly, apply the brakes lightly and pull off the road into a safe area. The faster the speed of your vehicle, the longer it takes to stop when you must react to other drivers' unexpected movements. A. True. B. False. A. True. The faster you are driving, the longer it will take for you to stop to react to other drivers' unexpected moves. U-turns are not permitted. A. In a curve in the roadway. B. On a hill where there is less than 500 feet of visibility in each direction. C. Near a sign that prohibits U-turns. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. In Nevada, U-turns are generally allowed on any roadway where they can be made safely. They are not permitted on hills with less than 500 feet of visibility in each direction, in curves, or near signs that prohibit U-turns. Allow a larger space cushion than usual when stopping. A. On an incline. B. At an intersection. C. At a stop sign. D. At a toll plaza. A. On an incline. You should allow more space in front of your vehicle than usual when you are stopped on an uphill slope. If the vehicle in front of you rolls backward toward your vehicle when traffic begins to move again, it is less likely that there will be a collision. Larger vehicles have A. Larger blind spots. B. Smaller blind spots. C. No blind spots. D. The same blind spots as smaller vehicles. A. Larger blind spots. The larger the vehicle, the larger the blind spots. Large trucks and SUVs have spots close to their rears that cannot be seen in their side or rearview mirrors. It is important to be alert to motorcycles because A. They are more difficult to see than cars. B. They rarely use their headlights. C. Motorcyclists are less skilled drivers than other motorists. D. All of the above. A. They are more difficult to see than cars. Motorcycles are smaller and harder to see than cars. Because of their size, they are easily hidden in a car's blind spot. It may be difficult to judge your distance to a motorcycle and difficult to tell how fast a motorcycle is moving, so always be alert and extra cautious when near a motorcyclist. Your brake lights tell other drivers that you A. Are making a turn. B. Have your emergency brake on. C. Are changing lanes. D. Are slowing down or stopping. D. Are slowing down or stopping. Your vehicle's brake lights indicate to other drivers that you are slowing down or stopping. Your brake lights should always be in working order when you are driving on any roadway. A slow-moving vehicle emblem is A. A rectangular red sign. B. A circular green sign. C. A diamond-shaped yellow sign. D. A triangular orange sign. This road sign means A. Divided highway begins. B. A steep grade is ahead. C. The overpass ahead has a low clearance. D. 2 lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions are about to merge. C. The overpass ahead has a low clearance. This sign warns that the overpass ahead has a low clearance. Do not proceed if your vehicle is taller than the height indicated, in this case 13 feet 6 inches. You are driving at night and another vehicle is approaching from the opposite direction. Your headlights A. should be on their high beam setting. B. should be on their low beam setting. C. should be off. Use your parking lights. D. may be on either their high or low beam setting. B. should be on their low beam setting. Do not use your high beam headlights when approaching or following another vehicle at night. Switch to the low beam setting to ensure the safety of everyone on the road. You may cross double solid yellow lines. A. to pass a slow-moving truck. B. to turn into a driveway. C. to pass another car. D. under no conditions. The most common mistake that drivers make when backing is failing to look both ways behind them. A. true. B. false. You have the right of way when turning left on which of the following traffic signals? A. A solid green light. B. A flashing yellow light. C. A green arrow pointing left. D. A flashing red light. C. A green arrow pointing left. A green steady arrow means you may pass through the intersection in the direction that the arrow is pointing. Oncoming traffic is required to stop for turning traffic. If two drivers arrive at the same time to an open intersection, A. the driver on the right has the right of way. B. the driver on the left has the right of way. C. One driver may continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should honk to indicate that they are giving up the right of way. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. If you arrive to an open intersection at the same time as a vehicle to your right, you should yield the right of way to that vehicle. You may then proceed when it is safe to do so. When you see this sign, it means A. There is an object on the roadway. B. Traffic is coming from the right. C. The road is curving sharply to the left. D. There is a merge point ahead. C. The road is curving sharply to the left. Chevron signs like this indicate that the road curves sharply in the direction indicated by the chevron, in this case, to the left. There may be several chevron signs placed throughout a curve. This sign means A. Lane ends. B. No right turn. C. Slippery when wet. D. Two-way traffic. A. Lane ends. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow and black. This sign tells drivers that a lane is ending and that they should prepare to allow traffic to merge safely. This sign means that A. A community service group is picking up trash along the highway ahead. B. Workers are on or very close to the road in the work zone ahead. C. Children are at play ahead. D. There is a pedestrian crosswalk ahead. B. Workers are on or very close to the road in the work zone ahead. This sign indicates that workers may be on or very close to the roadway ahead, so you should take special care when traveling through the area. This sign means A. Winding road. B. No parking. C. Right lane closed. D. Multiple turns. A. Winding road. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that they are approaching a winding road and that they should adjust their speed accordingly. Drivers should drive in a center turn lane for no more than A. 200 feet. B. 100 feet. C. 50 feet. D. 10 feet. A. 200 feet. You may travel no farther than 200 feet in a center turn lane before making a left turn. After making a left turn onto the roadway, you may travel no farther than 50 feet in a center turn lane before merging with traffic. As you drive, you're required to stop your vehicle A. At an intersection with a stop sign. B. Where there is a red light. C. When a traffic officer orders you to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Situations where motorists are required to stop include approaching intersections with stop signs, approaching intersections where a red light is either flashing or illuminated, or any time when a traffic officer orders your vehicle to stop. A red arrow displayed on a traffic light means that A. A driver must proceed slowly through the intersection. B. A driver must stop and then proceed when the way is clear. C. A driver must stop and then proceed when the signal changes to a green light or green arrow. D. A driver may turn in the direction that the red arrow is pointing. C. A driver must stop and then proceed when the signal changes to a green light or green arrow. unless a posted sign indicates otherwise. A traffic signal displaying a red arrow means that drivers must come to a full stop and remain stopped until a green light or green arrow appears. This sign means A. Watch for bicycles. B. Bicycles not allowed. C. Bicycle repair shop ahead. D. Bicycles have the right of way. A. Watch for bicycles. This sign provides advance warning that bicycles may be present. The effect that alcohol has on your reflexes and judgment. A. Is less pronounced when consuming beer instead of wine. B. Is less pronounced when consuming wine instead of beer. C. Is most pronounced when consuming hard ciders and mixed drinks. D. Depends on the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream. D. Depends on the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream. Consuming any type of alcohol can have negative effects on your reflexes and judgment. It does not matter which type of alcohol is consumed, only how much alcohol has entered a person's bloodstream. You approach an emergency vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing. You must A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. C. Stay in your lane and continue to drive at the same speed. D. Accelerate to quickly pass the stopped vehicle. A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. If you approach an emergency vehicle, tow truck, or roadside assistance vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing, you must change lanes to allow the vehicle extra space. If there is only one lane moving in your direction, or if changing lanes would be unsafe, you must slow down to a speed below the posted speed limit and give the stationary vehicle as much room as possible. Always slow down and be prepared to stop when you approach an emergency scene. Many crashes are caused by A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. B. Drivers consistently checking their mirrors and blind spots. C. Drivers yielding the right of way. D. Drivers maintaining a 4-second following distance. A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. Many crashes are caused by drivers who are driving too fast for conditions. Always drive within the legal speed limits and decrease your speed anytime conditions are less than perfect.